Well, if you don't love Labor Day, you don't love the Canadian Football League, and certainly if you have someone in your life that they don't really know about Labor Day, maybe you should introduce them. And this is a great way to start. Tiger Cats, Argonauts at Tim Hortons Field on a wonderful day here Monday. The crowd is filling in here to the stadium. We've got one of the best cover bands, and Dwayne Gretzky playing all the hits right now, and everyone's enjoying those $5 beers, I believe, as well, too. Folks, you are listening to Tiger Cats pregame presented by Greenworks. Folks, be sure to be listening later in today's Tiger Cats pregame presented by Greenworks, as one lucky listener will win a Greenworks 40-volt brushless jet blower with battery charger, and that is courtesy of Greenworks. As we keep rolling on, and as I teed up earlier before the break, we're bringing in one of the big fellas here, Brian Simmons. You know a little bit about this rivalry, playing with the Tiger Cats on the O-line, where I'm sure it was a lot of work, and on a day where there's all kinds of heat, it's a lot of work for the boys, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it is. In football, we often say there's certain games where it's lineman weather. This is not lineman weather right here. But anyways, I know these guys will be ready to compete. I mean, there's no game bigger than this. Like, outside of the Grey Cup, this is probably the biggest game the Hamilton could have, or the Toronto Argonauts could have.
What positions do you think would enjoy this type of heat?
Maybe a kicker. A kicker or a punter, and they don't have to cover. I would say those would be the two people who probably enjoy this kind of weather.
Well, versus the flip side, I guess, if you're looking into late October or November and having freezing cold weather, I'm sure most players would still choose this.
Yeah, honestly, and they say that's traditionally, that's lineman weather, the colder games, but I'm from North Carolina, so games like this, I love a hot game. I know the muscles are warm, they're ready to go. Outside of cramping, I'm not really concerned with too many things,
That's what Milt Stiegel said earlier.
Yeah,
too. He said
true.
the same thing. This is my type of weather.
Yeah.
You have any Labor Day memories here in Hamilton?
Yeah, for sure. I remember the opening of the stadium in 2014. Our Labor Day game was against, obviously, Toronto. And I'll never forget when they did the flyover, the Jets went straight up, went vertical, north. So I'm sitting here looking at the Jets go north. We kicking the ball off. Toronto fumbles. So I'm sitting here looking and like, offense. So I go from like enjoying this amazing thing to running on the field, getting ready to play. And we won the game, but I thought that was a great way to just, have the inaugural open of this stadium.
I remember the first touchdown pass at Tim Hortons Field was to Bakari Grant.
Yep.
And he kind of stood up tall and put his arms to the side, and it was just one of those. It's one of those one of those many memories over the years that is going to be kind of like concrete in my mind forever, I think.
He's a trivia question. Like Bakari is, quite honestly.
Yeah, he scored the first touchdown. I was there. I believe it was in that end zone. I remember it. The north end zone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember the play and everything. That's great. So what do you think about the team so far? I mean, there's been some ups and downs through the season. Obviously, at your position, you got to love that they're starting to run the ball with some more consistency. But just overall, what are your takes on the season so far?
Well, I think there has been a lot of ups and downs, like you stated. I do believe I've seen a lot of positive changes since they brought the new offensive coordinator in. It's a much more balanced offense. And with that said, you want your linemen, you want them to be happy. And when you're running the ball and you're controlling the pace of the game as a lineman, that's where you want to be. They got a young quarterback who's trying to come on and learn things, and I understand they're all learning an entire new offense. Like I've been telling people, it's almost like training camp for them because they're installing week by week. But I definitely think they have a legitimate shot and chance to win this game today. Them winning that game last week in BC, that was so big because no one didn't see that coming.
No.
And they went out there, flew the long road trip, and they got it done on all aspects of the game.
So you think with the new offensive coordinator, you mentioned there's a new playbook. Like, do you think that, say, the protections or the running game will have new terminology and be completely different? Or do you think they're just modifying some things that they used to have?
Honestly, I don't know the answer to that, Andy. If I was a little bit closer to with the organization on the inside, I might know that. I mean, it could be either way. Me personally, I could see it going them just having the same things and changing the terminology. Or they could just, spoon feed, and each week by week we're going to implement and add this to it, add that, add this and that. So I'm not sure what exactly they're doing, but so far I like what I see. Like even the game against Edmonton, I like the first half of that offensive game.
Let me throw you a question here for a lot of the people that are, we do have people on the line here that are, learning the game as well, too. And from an offensive line standpoint, just the differences for you, and you play on the tackle position, if I remember correctly, run blocking as opposed to pass blocking. What's easier? What's more difficult? What do you have to focus on?
Well, in this league, I will say run blocking is easier because 9 times out of 10, we're usually bigger than the guy we're blocking. I feel like for an offensive lineman, you need that in this game because obviously it's a CFL. Passing is very dominant in this league, and we all understand that. But I just think when you pass, and then it's like, oh, fourth quarter, we need to get 2 yards of gaining. Then your guys are out of rhythm. They haven't been run blocking the entire game. So I feel like just keeping the guys in the game, keeping that physicality. I always say the run game is like body shots,
right.
Taking shots to the body. Pass game is like you going for an uppercut to the head.
Because it's got to be a lot easier, I'm imagining here, trying to translate to fans, that it's a lot easier for an offensive lineman to be going forward than backwards.
Of course it is, because as human beings, we're naturally designed to go forward.
Yeah.
You're sitting here, you're going backwards, you're stopping someone that's quicker than you and faster than you, 9 times out of 10 more athletic than you. So it is a challenging position to play.
Right.
You want to be the hammer, not the nail, right? And, so I always thought of it like give him some love, right? Like even if you're not getting that much success, you got to continue to commit to that run game so that the line can come off going forward, like you mentioned, because otherwise the D line can just kind of tee off and in a pass rush situation. If they're worried about their gaps and making sure you're not opening up any holes, it must be a little easier in the pass blocking game as well.
It does. It opens up everything. And as you're a former receiver, it opens up the game for you as well. Like we go play action. They've been successful running the ball. Let's hug up. You wide open for a touchdown or a first yard game.
So what about the Argos so far? What's been most impressive to you so far about their start of the season?
Honestly, I know Chad Kelly gets a lot of
credit,
praise. Thank you. And he deserves it. But I think the run game is the key to slowing them down. That running back, man. Yes. And I'm sitting here and say, is he the fastest guy in the league? No. But you know what his greatest gift to me is as a former offensive lineman? He sets up his linemen to be right. Like when he reads the lane, he sees it and he opens it up, and it makes the job easy for a lineman. So it's hard to stop that.
He hits the line hard, is what you're saying.
He hits the hole hard, yeah. But he also sets it up where it's like I'm gonna go this way so I can set my lineman up to block that linebacker.
Yeah, he's patient behind the offensive lineman until the hole is there, and then he hits it.
Yes, he's very patient. And that's the kind of guy as a lineman, all I gotta do is do my job, and this guy's gonna make it work.
And in some ways, he's almost the same size as a lineman. He's a beast.
Yeah, he's a big
really
fella.
Is.
Yeah, and they really got a powerful team because I love AJ Ouellette and the way he runs the ball, and oftentimes he's getting those big gains in this later in the game when they're up, similar to Winnipeg's done for years with Andrea Harris or Brady Oliveira, and but you got to give him the credit. I mean, he's a solid player, and then you go to the receivers. These guys are making some tough catches when they need to be made. So they gotta somehow, the Cats gotta somehow kind of break that rhythm. And so how do you stop the run without exposing yourself to those big receivers?
Honestly, you got to put Toronto in second and long situations. When they run that ball, don't let them get more than 2 yards. And then with that said, in the second down situations, ideally you want your front forward to get pressure without any help. That way you got secondary, everyone's covered and stuff. Now, it's easier said to do this. It's easier said than done. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely think it could be done, and I expect a competitive game today.
One last thing here. Can you explain, because it is so hard to really relate to our fan base, that on this day especially, what this rivalry is about with the Argonauts, about and even on the line, the trash talk that maybe even goes on between the offensive line and the defensive line.
Oh, there's some nasty things said in the some things I can't say right now that wouldn't be appropriate. But the rivalry, before I came to Canada, I didn't know anything about this rivalry. In my first game in 2011, when I played, I realized, man, this is really a massive, huge thing. Fans will come up to you, letting you know how they feel about how you played, how you performed. They're very honest and blunt about this game. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the guys play today. And like I said, I expect it to be a competitive game. And I really think we have a realistic shot at getting it done.
Kind of like the college days for you?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It is like a college game. OU Texas will be my biggest rivalry.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, Brian, it's been so great to have you here. Enjoy the game. Enjoy being back here in what is your home.
Yes.
And I know I can say this on behalf of the Tiger Cats organization. You're always welcome. And I know it's a lot of the fans that are saying, hey, I remember you. I remember you. So, again, thank you for checking in here on Tiger Cats Audio Network. We really appreciate it.
No problem at all, bud.